direct from the web, it's Billy Masters, live. And now, please welcome your host, Billy Masters.
This is a big one, kids. Episode 72. You know, what started out as a fun little thing with a pandemic that was going to last a couple weeks, here we are, 72 episodes later. Hello, everyone. This is Billy Masters, and you're watching Billy Masters Live. Oh, my God, somebody in the control booth is right on their game. Today is Thursday, December 17th. My God, it's a week until Christmas. I don't know where the time has gone. Let me tell you something about today's show. This show, I don't know if this has been the most nerve-wracking show or the most anticipated show, the most excited show for me, because as far as I'm concerned, the Pointer sisters have been a part of my life since I was an itty-bitty little gay boy in a Boston suburb. And I don't know what it is about the Pointer sisters, but they always, you know, putting things into words for people who you're so excited about and you know and you've spent time with, it's still, you never forget that they are the fabulous Pointer sisters. For those of you who live in the Boston area or have seen me live anywhere in the country, certainly in the 90s, I've never really admitted this, but this show even, every show began, my opening was the Pointer sisters' old walk-on from the Opera House album. I actually walked out to da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, and I'd come out to thunderous applause. And it was the Pointer sisters' applause. You never were applauding me. You were applying the Pointer sisters. And any contest or competition or big show that I ever hosted always ended with one song. And I think I have it here. And people would say, the minute they hear this song, they know it's the end of a Billy Masters show. And it's this song. I love Take My Heart, Take My Soul is perhaps my favorite Pointer Sister song. You know, I don't even think it was a single. Just loved it. And you know what I love about it is that it gives off such joy and exuberance and love and sassiness. And all of those words can be used to describe my guest today. Here it goes. The incredible Ruth Pointer.
Hi.
Hey, when was the last time you sang Take My Heart, Take My Soul?
Oh my God, I don't even know that I ever have live.
I don't know if you ever have either. But it's a great song.
When I heard it just now, it brought back memories of, I love that song too.
You know, you guys recorded an there's a huge Pointer Sisters catalog, and it's a lot of songs that you never did record live that you either learned specifically for the studio or were written for you. Was there ever a song, let's take My Heart, Take My Soul off the equation, that you always said, ooh, I really want to do that song, or I really think that could be a hit, if they ever gave us a chance?
Right now, I can't think of anything. It was one, there's a year, back in 64, why came knock on my door. Blind Faith.
Oh, Blind Faith was all Blind Faith. We had.
My band knows the song, and we've sang it like in sound check before.
Oh, really?
Trying to get it ready, but it just never made it into the set yet.
And it's another great sassy. You know, it's funny. You've always sang. I mean, there have been beautiful ballads that you've sung, but people associate Ruth with the sassier, gospel-y tinged kind of riffs.
Well, you know what? I have to say, I think it was my mama's favorite side of me.
Really?
Yeah. Because my mother was very religious and very, I dare say naive, because she'd been a minister since she was, 14 or 15 years old. And she had never really ventured out into the world to parties and dancing and drinking and all that stuff. And I think she enjoyed watching some of the experiences I went through, not all of them. But she loved watching me perform sassy songs like Neutron Dance and things like that, So
But then you
I
would
think
all of a
it's
sudden
probably
sing.
because of the gospel tones of those songs.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think, but then all of a sudden you'd all of a sudden come out with a beautiful ballad. And we would think to ourselves, oh, a ballad is going to be maybe an Anita song. But all of a sudden, you always shook things up in the Pointer Sisters. There wasn't, it may have seemed like there was a formula, but rules are made to be broken. And you ladies broke a lot of rules.
Yeah, we really never wanted to be pigeonholed and thought to be a certain type of group. We were always very rebellious when they tried to put us in a category. We were always sort of battling and trying to fight our way out of that box. We didn't want to be in a box.
I think we should dispel, some misconceptions, because you are the eldest of the Pointer Sisters, but you were not originally part of the group. You didn't see it.
Exactly. I was not a part of the original quote unquote professional group.
Right.
When Bonnie and June first started singing around in Oakland, and then later on Anita joined the two of them. Bonnie and June were briefly known as Pointer's pair.
Oh, right.
And then Anita joined them, and they actually became the Pointer Sisters again, because when we were still living at home and with my father and my mother and singing in my dad's church, and I was with the group, and we were the Pointer Sisters way back then.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we were the Pointer Sisters way back in the early 60s.
And people should know both of your parents were ministers.
True.
Which has to be hard.
Yes.
There's no way around that.
Yeah, it was hard because, we were expected to sort of be the example of what the other kids that belonged to my father's church, or even our environment, I remember being told all the time, you're the eldest girl and you should set an example for the others. And oh my God, I was like hell bent on being the opposite of that. Unfortunately, but
I don't think that's an unfortunate thing, because first off, people should remember this is the 60s. And it was a rebellious time. You're in California. You're a kid. Oh, wait, did I lose you? Hold on, I'm not hearing you. Oh, we've lost Ruthie for a second.
I'm back.
Okay, there she is. Hey.
Oh, God.
Technology, anyway, I know.
My stylist calling me. She knows better.
Thank you. And you look fabulous. Who needs her?
Thank you. Not bad for no glam squad.
Well, we're all making do. I mean,
yes, we are.
Yeah. And again, we should tell people that you and I are in Massachusetts. We're in the middle of a blizzard.
Yes,
that's pretty, but that's about it, as we said.
Yeah. Especially for today, because 2 days from now is really going to be ugly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, although, the last couple winters, you can't complain too much. So
not much. Yeah.
No, and you have comments. Donnie James says, Ruth, you look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And wants to also know, can you bring back your iconic red hair circa 85?
Oh, my God. I love the red hair. I got some red hair in there in my bathroom.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen you in red hair since, like, Dare Me or something.
Yeah. It's been a while. Every now and then I get the nerve to, put it on my head, because that's exactly where it's going.
We have talked about the Pointers a lot here, and you represent so many things for so many people. You're a soundtrack to eras and our lives, and really multi-generations. And ironically enough, the group is now multi-generational.
It is.
And it all stems from you.
Oh.
How funny is that?
I know it's kind of awesome and unbelievable, sometimes when I'm on stage with my daughter Issa and my granddaughter Sadako, and it just hits me that, this is 3 generations up here and they're my offspring. And I'm like in awe of it all and how fortunate and blessed I am, really.
But we are earlier this year, we lost your sister Bonnie, which I know was just an unbelievable situation because, you can lose a sister and you can know a sister has trouble, but when it actually happens, I don't know how you even deal with it. It's had to have been a very rough year for you.
Yeah, it's something I still deal with because, like you said, this has been a rough year for a lot of people, for all of us actually, with this pandemic going on, and you can't be near anybody that you love. And that happened, on this pandemic watch when I lost my sister. I couldn't fly to Los Angeles and
couldn't even go out there. Yep.
And be there with my other sister Anita and my brothers, and I think there was some kind of virtual memorial thing that was held, but I didn't feel comfortable even being a part of it. I was having dreams about her, and I still do sometimes, And
well, I would
Anita
expect
and
you'd
when
have
we talk, we even mimic the way she says goodbye. She always said, "Love you, bye." And so Anita and I still do that when we get ready to hang up after having a conversation together. Love you, bye.
I want to show people a clip because you did, again, you never can plan things, but you actually got the opportunity to perform with Bonnie one last time. The last time that you performed as the Pointer Sisters, I think, certainly the three of you together, was at the Hollywood Museum, which I was there with you, which I have to tell people. So Ruth is walking down the street to go in this purple fuchsia outfit. She was stunning. And it's early, like 11 a.m. or something. You had just flown in overnight after having had surgery just a week earlier. So you could have been in a little bit of pain. And I just looked at you and said, "Do you ever age? You look so..." And I said, "You've made a deal with the devil." And you said, "No, I haven't." So... But,
oh my God, it's a lot of makeup and exercise.
No, it was so, look, I have stood right next to you. It is not a lot of makeup. It's really good genes, good bones. I can't say it was clean. I can't say it was clean living, but I can say...
Not for a long time.
But let me show this little clip of the three of you performing because I think it's a really great moment. And again, how great that you flew across country and actually had this moment that you can look back on and say, "I performed with my sisters again."
That's so true, yeah.
So let's show the clip. Here we go.
Oh boy, I want to love you, feel you, honey, wrap myself around you, wanna squeeze you, please you, now I just can't get enough, and if you move real slow, I'll let it go. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. Oh, I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. And I want you. You got me burning up. How did you get to me? I got to give it up. And I'm so excited to do it. Oh boy, you got me burning up there. Oh, how did you got me? I got to give it up. I like it, boy. I'm so excited.
I see you in the background singing and swaying. I mean, that when you look back at that, is that really a special moment for you that it is for the fans?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. because it had been a long time since the three of us sang together. And I mean, I enjoy singing with my sister and my daughter and my granddaughter, but they ain't my sisters, honey. Ain't nothing like Bonnie, June, and Anita and Ruth singing together, because we grew up together and we all knew where the other was going to go vocally. We didn't have to even think about it. It was second nature.
It's funny. I asked you that night. I had seen the three of you perform together when your son put it together, when Malik put it together at Cantor's. And there was a moment where you and Anita swapped. She took over the lead of Going Down Slowly, and you went into, and you said, go. And she sang the lead and you went back. And I said, how do you do it? You said, we don't have training in this. We just fall into our parts.
Yeah. That was something that we automatically did because we grew up doing it, and it was so easy for us to do that. As a matter of fact, when we had to train my daughter Issa, I didn't realize how easily we did it until we started having to train Issa to step in for June. And it was so hard. I was like, oh my God, we have to really show you the part that June is singing and go over it with the piano player and all of that. And it was like, wow. Because we never had to do that before.
And what's funny is that you guys had actually filled in sometimes for June. You'd had to fill in the lines if she wasn't there during the end. And so you knew everyone's parts without even thinking about it, just instinctively.
We all did. They knew my parts. I knew their parts. Whenever somebody was dropping out on stage, it was automatically filled in.
And, I think what people should know is that, I don't want to take anything away from any singers. Being a lead singer is so much easier because you've got the melody. To do harmonies or do syncopated parts, that is 900 times harder. And to go back and forth into it is a very special skill.
It is. It really is. And I didn't realize that either until we were singing professionally, and we had to sing with other people. Mm-hmm. And we needed them to sing a certain part, and sometimes they couldn't hear it. I remember once we were trying to sing Function at the Junction with Dinah Shore, and she could not understand. There's a strange syncopation in that song that goes against the actual rhythm, and she couldn't relate or understand it. And finally, she just gave up. She said, you guys just sing it, because I don't know what they're doing with this song.
And it's funny. People can look. There's so many clips online, and so many of them put up by Paul. Thank you, Paul. But there's a clip of you and Anita on with Vicki Lawrence. June was supposed to be there and couldn't. And Vicki actually came in and not only sang lead, sang backups. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know I knew she was a singer, but I didn't know she'd have the skill to just become a pointer overnight.
Oh, yeah. We go way back with Vicki anyway. And so she knew us almost well enough to be an adopted sister. So she knew at that time. We had been long friends after working with her and Carol Burnett. And it wasn't that much of a stretch for her.
Well, we had talked when we had Anita here. We had Bob Mackey on the show, and we talked about your background with the Carol Burnett show. And I had found this sketch, which is just so fabulous.
Oh, wow. Oh.
And Anita had said that Bob actually made you guys a lot of clothes for your stage show.
Yeah. Carol Burnett was so generous, her and Bob.
Really?
And, when we first started, we were thrown into these television shows so quickly, we really didn't have an extensive, glamorous wardrobe. I mean, we were wearing vintage clothes. They were real vintage. They smelled vintage. And that was really what we were wearing. And we didn't have like sparkly things and sequin things and, things that were really made for cameras and stuff like that. We didn't think anyway. And when we would do a Carol Burnett show, or when we did Flip Wilson shows and things like that, they allowed us to keep the wardrobe that we wore.
Which is rare. That doesn't happen all the time.
Forever grateful,
Yeah.
really.
But how much of it did you also participate in? Because you ladies had your own style. Now, some of it was born on necessity. Like you said, you didn't have the money. But it still always seemed personal. Like I remember Joan Rivers saying to you once on the show, she said, who decided this outfit? Because this looks like 3 different decisions.
It was.
And it worked.
That was another thing, just like our singing, our style was very versatile, but also had a certain blend to it. And we didn't like to try to tell each other what to wear. And sometimes we missed. And sometimes it worked. And, it just evolved more and more. The more we were together, the more that blend sort of came together. And but we always loved vintage clothes, always did.
And just such eclectic stuff. It was never really...
We liked everything.
Yeah. Very rarely was it the matchy dresses. It was always
we didn't want to be that,
Yeah. I think I read someplace a million years ago that you said you got your sophistication and style from like the Supremes and the harmonies from like the Andrews Sisters. Like you took things from all the greats that came before you.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. We loved all of those images and all of those role models. And we tried to pluck whatever we could without it being too obvious, of their professionalism and their skill. Yeah, we wanted to be good.
Well, and you certainly were. And how did you decide who would sing lead on a song? Because eventually, well, I would hope so. Because eventually it did sort of become, this is more of a country-ish song. Anita might do that. This is more rockish. June might do it, although you did your share of rockin'. Let me just tell you that.
I think you just hit it on the head. I mean, that's kind of what we would do. Like I said earlier, we kind of knew each other's strengths, and we always knew that Anita had that little country side, and June had that rock and roll side, and I had that sort of lower key rock,
bluesy,
ballad, spiritual, gospel thing in me, and we sensed that about each other's style. Bonnie had a very blues, smoky. I used to love to hear her sing Black Coffee as a solo on stage. And, we all have these little strengths, and we knew what each other had. And we definitely supported that in each other and pushed it.
There's a story you tell in your book, which, by the way, people should get. It's a great book called Still So Excited, My Life as a Pointer Sister. It is so great. And, it's funny. I don't want to say it's dishy because that sounds so, like, tacky. But there's a lot of dish in there.
Yeah.
And it's usually, the funny thing is, it's usually dish about you.
Well, it's supposed to be about me.
Yeah, but like you have no fear in just putting it all out there. Like, I did this, I own it. What can I tell you?
I did it. Yeah. I mean, me and my girlfriends talk about this. I have an amazing group of girlfriends from different backgrounds and different professions, and we're all sort of in the same age pool of wisdom and life. And, they inspired me. And we sometimes talk about how, you get to a certain age, and me and a girlfriend of mine the other day were even saying, we were talking about something that Dionne Warwick did recently, where she's sort of coming out on Twitter, and she's saying exactly what she wants to say. And I'm like, yep, that's my girl. And my girlfriend said, yeah, well, you get to a certain age and you feel like, you can just say whatever the hell you want to say, And I was like, yeah, you do kind of feel that way, And I think it does come down to that. You get to a certain point, and especially if you've lived through some stuff, and that's the way I was feeling. I felt like, wow. I mean, I had been through some illnesses. I'd been through drug addiction and domestic abuse and all that stuff. And my children, I got 5 children. And I'm like, whoa, this is a lot of stuff to go through, and singing and being on the road and being a single parent and trying to balance it all. And I felt compelled to just put it out there and say, I survived.
And I think if you're going to write a book, write a book. You know what I mean? Like if you're not going to tell the truth, write a press release. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I think I would also think that being with your sisters has to be a double-edged sword, because on one side, your family, you can say and do anything. On the other hand, you can have a problem, but at the end of the day, you're still family. You still got to deal with each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've gone through some of that, and I'm still going through some of that, and it's like, I love watching the Braxtons on television.
Oh, sure.
On their reality show. And I can relate to so much. And we had even at one point been approached to do a reality show, and I was like, nah.
Oh, wow.
But you go through those periods. I mean, like the Braxtons and like myself, and probably other sibling groups, you started so young. You think you're going to be together, or people think you're going to be together forever. They see you out somewhere, and the first thing they say to you is, "Where's your sister?" Like you're joined at the hip. And It's like you start to grow up. You have your own separate lives. You marry, you have children, you move away from one another, and you have your own life, and it's not simultaneous. You're not doing the things they're doing. You're not thinking the way they're thinking.
That's, I think, the key, because I've got two sisters and we have all lived through the same things. We all have three complete different memories or perspectives on it. And what we've learned with love and with respect is, I don't agree with you, but that's your truth. I have my truth.
Exactly. And I've been learning that too, even since I wrote my book, I mean, I said some things that I think hurt my sister Anita, and I had to go and apologize to her.
Well, not only that, but, again, it's interesting you bring up Anita because, and again, we talked about this on the show with her. You both have written books, and it's fascinating to read about the same experience from both of your points of view. It doesn't happen often that you could say, this is what Anita was feeling, but this is what Ruth was feeling.
Right,
and it doesn't have to, A, it doesn't have to be the same, and B, neither one is right. They can both be right.
Right, exactly. Just different.
Anita said something which was very sad, and I'm curious what you think about it, is that having lost her daughter and June and your mother in such a short period of time, she actually lost her faith. And she said to me, and she cried on the show. People, if you haven't seen the show with Anita, it's so moving and it's uncomfortable, but you want to let her express it because it's her story.
Yeah.
And she said, it's hard for me to have faith in God because why would God do this to me?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, that's got to be hard. And yet, Ruth, while you haven't lost a child, you have lost sister, parents, two sisters now. How do you keep your faith, or do you?
I try. I feel like I have a certain amount of faith, and from what I know from my religious teaching, I remember my father preaching sermons about you only need the faith of a mustard seed, and that's probably what I got. Okay, but that little bit keeps me connected to something bigger than myself. Because of my experiences with illness, with addiction, and, the abuse that I've endured, having come out of that on this side of my life, I mean, I feel like I have a decent life now with my current husband, which is number 5, by the way.
5.
And really had the opportunity to raise 2 children after turning age 47. My twins are 27 years old.
Oh my God, I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, and they're doing really well. And I feel like I finally did something better than I did before when I was into my addiction and on the road all the time with the other older three.
And your mother was raising
And
some
my
of them,
mother was
helping you a lot.
raising them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just feel like somewhere in the universe, something gave me grace and allowed me to stay alive, in spite of really some life-threatening things that could have taken me away from here. And that's,
I didn't realize how hard it was for you because, again, we kind of focused on June. Her problems were much more public. And yet, I mean, you almost died.
child.
I mean, you were on the deathbed. Your sisters flew in to say goodbye to you.
Yes, they did.
I mean, it's shocking. I mean, and we did not know this. Even fans did not know what was going on, the extent of the drug abuse, the domestic abuse.
Yeah.
It's really, reading your book is so eye-opening. I also will say very inspirational because you do look at you having made a deal with the devil and looking so fabulous and living well, being in a marriage for so long.
30 years.
Out of all of that, obviously somebody can do it.
That's the way I felt. And that is the part of me that I feel like is that little mustard seed of faith that I still have. And, and I pray every day. I mean, wherever those prayers are going, hopefully they're working.
Mm-hmm.
But when I wake up and open my eyes in the morning, I thank God for another day. Whoever and whatever God is, I just thank God for another day. I'm awake. My eyes are open. I'm breathing. I'm getting on my knees right now.
Do you feel the need to really define it, or can you just be spiritual?
I feel like I can just be spiritual because
Mm-hmm.
I'm really turned off on a lot of the institutionalized religions.
Right.
I have in-laws especially that are very, very strict Catholics and others, other types of religions, and I see things that are man-made in quote unquote churches and congregations. And when I think about, Jesus and his example of that he set as far as being a teacher and a leader, is far away from what I see today. Yeah. And so I just try to keep it in here and keep it personal. I mean, and I'm trying not to judge other people for what they do, but I don't agree with a lot of it.
Mm. But if you want them to respect your opinion, you've got to respect theirs.
I do.
Yeah.
And I definitely do.
It's hard these days.
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. Yeah.
I when this pandemic started, I remembered in one of the first shows talking about masks, and that when you see somebody walking towards you not wearing a mask, in my head, what I'm hearing is, I don't care about you.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
then I realized, but I'm putting words in their head. They may not be conscious enough to even be thinking that.
Exactly. And I had forgotten my mask at times. Like, I've been at the market and jumped out of my car because I was so used to doing it. And I'm running into Whole Foods or somewhere. And I see people looking at me like, and then it clicks. Oh, I forgot my mask. And I run back to the car. So
it has not become second nature.
Yeah. But now I try to wear this little thing that hangs around my neck and has my mask on it. So
you can,
so I know to just put it up. But I was laughing yesterday because there was something on the news where Tom Cruise just had a complete meltdown on his crew. And I was like, good for you.
Yeah.
It's on his damn right he needs to tell him.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think that also people in the public eye and in charge, whether you're a star or in charge of an office, you set the example and you lay down the law.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
And speaking of that, it sounds to me like the Pointer sisters have had an incredible, loyal, crew that has stuck with them, whether it's writers, whether it's producers, musicians. So obviously you work really well with people and treat people well because they keep coming back.
We try to. We love people. I mean, we have an incredible crew, even that I travel with on the road. My stylist, Cecile Parker, and she's worked with everybody, and all kinds of designers, and she knows her stuff, for years and years. We met years ago when she was working with Natalie Cole.
Oh, wow.
And Yves Saint Laurent. She was at Maxfield, and that's where she and I really, really met. Oh. One of the great stores in Los Angeles. And my band, Giovanni Collier and Fred Clark and Kevin Flournoy and Steve Sullivan and Stacey Henry and my road manager Will Lee and Winston and Jan and my daughter and my granddaughter, and we have the best time on the road. We're like a family. I mean, we've been in touch even during the pandemic. We've been texting each other and and just saying hi, how you doing in this mess.
I want to talk about the music. I want to go back. We have so many clips of you guys. One of the clips, and you mentioned it in your book, and it's one of the most bizarre clips. And I remember seeing this on TV. And I'm going to show the clip, and then we'll just talk about it. So okay. Let's just show. And it is you singing, by the way. Oh. Of course it is. Okay, and again, Pointer Sisters did a lot of covers. There are great albums. If you haven't gone back and listened to Priority or Energy or Special Things, there are great treasures on there, and they've all been re-released. Right. They've been re-released with all these extra clips, which is so great. But anyway, Here's a cover. Ruth Pointer singing a cover. Here we go.
It ain't nothing but a heartache. Yes, it is. Darling, you'll get over. It ain't nothing but a heartache. I know. Darling,
notice the harmonies, kids. What a great
wow, clip. I forgot about that.
One of my favorite songs, Ruth Pointer. And again, this was on national television at a place in one of the Carolinas called The Attic. And what was their logo, Ruth?
Oh, a noose.
No, they could never get away with that today. But are you thinking to yourself, we're singing in front of a noose?
Hey, we had one of our first shows in San Francisco. We were singing, and one of the band members in back of us was dressed in a Ku Klux Klan outfit.
Are you kidding me?
No. And we were like, what the hell? And I think he was trying to make a comparison, the fact that we were dressed in vintage, clothing. And no, our manager was so mad at him.
Yeah, well, I would hope so. So continuing with covers, you've collaborated with some great people. One again, there's like every one of these is great. So I'm going to just get tired of saying another one of my favorites. Okay. And by the way, if you're online wanting to hear like the hits, like Jump, So Excited, you're not going to hear those. You're going to hear clips you've probably never heard before.
Oh, I love that.
All right, so take a look at Ruthie singing again with Clint Black.
Oh. Now every chain, has got a wiggle link. I might be weak, child, but I'll give you strength. Oh, yeah. She told me to leave the road. My mother said, come on. My doctor said, take it. hurting is much too strong. I'm added to your chain, chain, chain. Oh, chain, chain, chain. 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 Ooh.
And it's a song you still sing today in
We
concert.
still sing it. Yep.
And how did that collaboration come about?
Clint asked for us to sing it with him.
And that was that Red Hot in Country? Is that what that was?
Something
It
like
was some
that.
sort of, some weird
Yeah,
duets
it was
thing.
a collaboration with a lot of different artists singing together. Gladys Knight and Little Richard, and it was a lot of duets that you would never imagine that would be singing together.
And how great are you guys together? Was that a song you ever aspired to sing?
I think so. We've always loved Aretha, and whatever she did was fine with us, and all of her covers and everything she did. She's one of our idols forever and ever. And so definitely. And my sisters, before I got with the Pointer sisters later on, had been singing it anyway as the three of them.
Oh.
Yeah, they had been singing Chain of Fools in some clubs back east and in Oakland. And so it wasn't that much of a stretch.
Well, since you mentioned Little Richard, again, a very strange combination, but it works. Here you go. Now, what do you have to say about that? Apparently, there's a fourth Pointer sister back.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. Little Richard. Whew. What a gem,
Did you interact with him very much over your career? Because I always like to think that good people find each other and they will leave notes for each other in dressing rooms and stuff.
I think the first time we interacted with Little Richard, we were all on the same flight on our way to London to do a show there in England.
Oh.
Yeah, and we were on the same flight, and I think it was our first encounter with him, and we were just very excited to be with him. That's kind of the way we felt about most of the gems that I call them that we met. Ella Fitzgerald and Nancy Wilson. I have one of my favorite pictures. It's in my room somewhere where, I think it's over there. I'll show it to you if you want to see it.
I want to see everything. Are you kidding?
This is one of my favorite pictures.
Let me make you full screen so we can all see you. Okay. Oh, look at you.
Ella, Nancy Wilson, Linda Hopkins, and the Pointer sisters.
Fabulous. What a great picture.
I know. I love that picture.
Speaking of things we've got up in the air, in my room right here, I've shown this before. There is this Pointer Sisters poster that was for a hair benefit. And I don't know why I got, but it's just so colorful and beautiful.
Wow.
And, there are things, Paul and I have talked about this, when June was going through tough times and people were stealing it was horrible, and they'd break into her storage units and things would show up on eBay.
Yes.
And I would buy things. I know Paul bought like photo albums that he got back to you guys.
Right.
But one of the things I have a couple of things, but one of them is for a Grammy nomination placard for you guys, and I bought a few things, and I said to June, I've got these things, I want to give them to you, and she's like, baby, you keep them, I've got the memories.
Absolutely.
And she's like, I'm glad that somebody who loves me has them, but they're things you treasure, because it was such a hurtful situation, because She was surrounded by people, and this didn't seem to happen to you, even in your book, Still So Excited. You never seem to have surrounded yourself by leeches and people who were taking advantage of you.
I tried not to, I enjoy my own company, for one thing. I really do. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other night about it, because she was talking about how isolating being in this pandemic is. And I said to her, I said, I think I might have a little bit of an advantage because the road can be very lonely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. People don't understand. They think we're out there partying every day and every night, but that's not the case at all. And I learned that very quickly in my travels in the early 70s. We would go to these places that we'd never been to before. And some of them are really out in the boonies and obscure and away from anything that you might want to do socially.
Mm-hmm.
And all you got is that television in your room.
Right.
And maybe a book. I got to the point where I read a lot, but I had to adjust and learn to really enjoy my own company. And I sort of do the same thing at home. I'm in my room and, my husband's here in the house, but we don't have to interact every second of the day in each other's faces, and that's fine with me.
Yeah, I think Cheryl Lee Ralph told me a couple weeks ago, she said this is the longest she had spent in one place with her husband. And she's like, but thank God it's a big house.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you need your you
I think
time.
this is the longest my husband and I have been together in one place. But, we have a big house and I go downstairs and we say hello to each other. Hi, how you doing today? I'm good.
And I will say, though, it's also the longest that I haven't seen close friends. And it's so great that you can do things like this and stay in touch. And we're living through a time where technology has these advantages.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Really. I have most of my friends are in Los Angeles.
Sure.
I had one really dear, precious friend here that I had ever since I moved here, over 25 years ago. And she passed away this year. And I miss her so much because she was a native New Englander. Mm-hmm. She was a ex-Boston police officer, and her husband was a Boston police lieutenant.
Wow.
And she just showed me around and knew her way around Boston and all through Dorchester and everywhere in Wellesley. And when we would get in the car, we would stay in the car all day because she would just take me everywhere, and she knew her way around. And because she was an ex-police officer and her husband was lieutenant, she had this little pamphlet that she could sit up on my dashboard in my car, and we could park anywhere or double park anywhere. She said, I'll just get out. I'll put this thing up on the dashboard and we'll be fine. But I lost her this year and I miss her a lot. And my other friends are all on the West Coast, which I would fly out periodically to hang out with them, including my family.
Right.
But I haven't been able to do that lately.
Where is most of the family that's left? Are they in the Los Angeles area? Or are they still up in Northern California?
I have my son, my oldest son, my oldest daughter are both in Los Angeles.
Right.
Anita.
Yep.
And my daughter that sings with me is in Las Vegas. And my brothers are in Fritz is in Northern California. My oldest brother is in Tacoma, Washington.
Carl?
Aaron.
Okay. Well, speaking of Issa, Issa is she may be in Las Vegas, but she's here.
Hi, Mommy!
Hey, Booba!
I miss you so much.
Oh, I miss you too, honey boo.
And I think we should point out that she is rock and roll royalty.
Oh, yes,
she is the spawn of a Pointer and a Temptation.
Yes.
And
so
hopefully you will be hearing from me soon.
Yeah, your mom told me that you're recording now, right?
I am. I'm getting ready to record an album. I'm getting ready to write a book.
Really?
Yes, I've signed on to be an ambassador for Autism Speaks.
Oh, great.
Because my 11-year-old son, Balin, is autistic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, he's high-functioning autistic, and he's amazing. And I just want to learn and know as much as I can about it because I always consider it to be his superpower.
Yeah.
Right. They
So
know things that we do not know.
Oh,
absolutely.
he is brilliant. Like he's the best boy. So I definitely wanted to offer my, insight and assistance into that organization. So, some exciting things coming up. The pandemic definitely slowed stuff down, but I'm still working and we are still, progressing towards this new project that I'm doing myself. So I'm excited. But I miss you, Mommy. I haven't seen you in so long.
How long has it been? When was the last time you guys?
February?
November?
No, February.
February was our last
Yeah.
gig?
Yeah, February 28th was the last gig.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Well, speaking of which, I will point out that Issa and her niece, Sadako, are members of the Pointers. And now I don't like calling you the Pointer Sisters. It's just the Pointers at this point. And I just want to show a little clip of you guys performing now. So take a look, guys. Keeping the legacy alive.
Keep it alive. Keep hope alive.
You know what? We have the greatest job on earth, and I really can't wait to get back to doing it.
You also bring people so much joy. And, while you guys look like, I hate to use a term, but having a party up on stage, you look like you're having a party. And I think you hear the Pointer Sisters sing or you see the Pointer Sisters, you can't help but smile.
It's infectious.
Like I said, greatest job on earth.
Yeah.
Honestly, I miss it so much.
I do
just
too.
being on stage, performing for other people, knowing that people are there to support you and you're there to make them happy, especially with all the ugly going on in the world. We need it.
Right.
We need it. We're going to need a lot of it when this is finally settled down to a point where we can perform again.
Absolutely. Did you want to be a singer or did you have any choice?
I think that's all I've ever wanted to do.
Really?
I can't think of anything else that I've ever wanted to do, and I'm good at it.
Yeah, you are very good
at it.
She is.
So, I really enjoy it too. I love that you can speak to people through music when maybe you can't say what you want to say to them. You can play a song, and that tells them exactly the way you want to feel. It's just the most beautiful thing ever, and it's for everyone. We don't pick sides. We perform for anyone, and I think that that's a beautiful thing because it unites people.
Oh, she used to get dressed up and do little private shows for me and Anita, and we'd cry. Make up her own choreography and just go flying through the house with her flailing her arms and singing, and oh my God, yeah. I
tried to join in on my son's music class the other day. They were dancing. And he pushed me out the room and closed the door.
Okay.
He said, "No, you cannot dance with me." I was like, "I'm officially old."
Oh my God! And to a Pointer and an Edwards, for God's sake.
I thought, don't you know this is how we eat? Like,
so you said, don't you be upstage in the star.
Exactly. That's him.
Yeah.
He is definitely the star.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
When you were growing up and you were seeing your mom and your aunt singing together, was there did you aspire to be one of them, or did you have your own path in terms of music that you wanted?
No. Listen, they would be on stage at Caesar's Palace, and I was backstage putting all their makeup on and getting ready like I was going to do the show.
Oh, we come off stage and
I was ready.
Made up. We made her a costume for one show in Tahoe.
And it's funny because I am completely scatterbrained in my regular life, but on stage, I feel like I'm very confident. I know what to do. I don't get nervous. The bigger the crowd, the better. It's home for me.
You know, Ruth, you mentioned something about that in the book, that when it came time for her first show, the first full show, you were a nervous wreck backstage, and then you're looking over and like, damn, she's doing it.
Yeah. We were in Antwerp.
Oh,
And that's
It
a
was-
big stage.
It was the
Oh.
biggest stage I'd ever
people.
seen in my life.
Yeah.
wow.
And I was
And they
afraid
didn't
to tell
tell
her
me.
how big it was going to be. And finally I said, come on, let's walk out here. Let me show you this room. And she was like, oh my God, Mom. I said, It's
It
big.
was
Welcome to the
incredible.
Pointers.
It's big, girl. Come on. You can do this.
You can't even know the feeling though looking at it, and then once the audience is there, they're two completely different things.
It is a completely different feeling.
But it's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever being nervous, just excited and exhilarated.
We would be like bouncing back and forth just to get up there. Come on. Come on. Come on. You know?
It was amazing.
What is the biggest difference between having watched them perform and now being there? Was there something that you didn't expect that took you by surprise?
Yeah, I had to learn all the parts. Like you said. I mean, like you said, when you're singing along to stuff, you're singing the lead, so you have the melody.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, when she was mentioning they had to teach me the parts, they didn't know what to tell me, and I, you know, I'm not like trained musically, so we couldn't just sit down and write down notes and read that. We had to physically do this.
Yeah.
And
Repeatedly.
and it was hard. It was hard, and I've grown over the years because I did not accept constructive criticism very well when I first started. But you know, there's something to be said about that, because it's like anyone else can criticize you, but when your family does it, you be feeling some type of way.
It
You know,
takes
so
a
I
whole different
definitely-
dimension.
Yeah, you know, there were definitely things that, again, like you mentioned before, when it's family, it's just a little different dynamic when it's family. Because when the show is over, you still got to go home. I still got to go home, and that's still my mama. You know, so, you know, but you learn and you evolve and you grow over the years, especially if you love it. Because this business is not for the weak.
No, it is not. And, you know, it's funny. You've stepped into the shoes of your aunt, who I know was also one of your favorite people, and also
Absolutely.
really a huge crowd favorite. I mean, everyone has their favorites, but like June was everyone's baby sister.
Oh God.
And that has to be pressure on you too, because you can't just be a singer. You can't just be yourself.
It's definitely a lot of pressure. You know, because I don't even want to say that I stepped into anyone's shoes. I think I stepped next to her shoes, perhaps.
I think
Right.
that
You know,
makes sense.
right.
Nobody could ever replace her.
No.
I wouldn't even try. I feel like I brought my own little something, you know, into the group, and I hope that people have perceived it well. But that's another big reason I'm doing my own project, because people don't know that I come from two legends,
Yeah.
for one. And, you know, but I'm also a really amazing singer and an amazing person in my own right.
And performer.
Talk
You have
about it,
really
girl.
you have a great presence on stage. And you know, when you first started, I remember thinking, oh, you know, I missed you, because you've got to miss June.
Of course,
But then-
I
but
miss
then-
her too, trust
yeah,
me. I
well-
miss Antonita.
Yeah.
But then I saw you and I realized, oh, look, she's bringing her own sassiness, because you're very
That's what
sassy.
You know, that's always what I try to do. Anyone who's ever had the pleasure of meeting me knows I'm extremely unique,
Oh, yes.
and you know, I'm not very forgettable. And I think that I brought a little bit of my own something into the group that, you know, people have appreciated.
Oh,
It may be a little crazy sometimes.
That's okay.
Maybe
We
a little
like
off, you know, but we all have that ability. All of us, just in our family, we have this dynamic ability to just sort of outshine anything that's around us. And I think that that's, you know, why we've been so successful at anything we do.
Ruth, it's got to be different for you to sort of look next to you and see your sister on one side when Anita was still singing, and your daughter on the other side. Were you able to not be her mother on stage and be her colleague?
I don't know. I don't know. That's my child. So I think I hopefully cleverly blended the two together.
Uh-huh.
Because no matter what, I don't think I find it difficult to just take away the fact that she's my child. I can't really just dismiss that.
I think
But
that
it's
we're
different-
all extremely professional on stage.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we're as professional as we can be. And the same goes for my granddaughter, because she's younger even, than Issa. And they do things on stage that I used to do.
mm,
And they do things and they say things, as young people that are just hilarious to me. And they do things that are so funny and so cute that it brings me joy.
It's interesting that Ruth brought that up, because Issa, now you've got a generation younger than you in the group.
I know.
So do you look at her as, oh, that's my little niece, or do you think to yourself, oh, that's my singing partner?
No, Sadako and I are only 6 years apart. So
Oh, really?
We're,
All right.
Yeah, we're only 6 years apart. So we're more like sisters, I think, but what's funny about me and Sadako is we are complete and total opposites.
Really?
If she says up, I say down. If she says left, I say right. But we know that about each other, and we're kind of like yin and yang. And it just seems to work. I love working with her. I don't really consider her like a niece type, but more like a younger sister.
Yeah.
Because she's amazing. She's an amazing person.
People are asking, they say, is she doing well in recording as well? She was going to be here. She's on the road, actually.
Yeah, with her boo.
Okay. See, I don't know. I haven't talked to her in a couple weeks.
Oh, sorry, I have. And she and she said, oh, I'm on the road. I'm sorry. But okay, now Issa, somebody says, sing Christmas in New York.
Oh my God. Remember the video?
I do remember the video.
Oh my God.
I just watched it recently.
Situation, because that was really a great song, and it was a great time.
But it
just didn't get off the ground because of the political crap that was going on with the record company and stuff.
Well, that's been a problem throughout the Pointer Sisters' career, is that record labels have mismanaged the group many times.
Many times.
Absolutely. Yep.
Many.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because we still here.
You did something that was fascinating, which was and I think you were the first artist to do this. You went back in and decided you were going to re-record your own material on your own label and control and with basically the same arrangements and many of the same musicians.
Right.
And it's a great album.
We weren't getting paid. And so my husband, Michael, actually arranged that whole situation. And
they sound great. Like sometimes people do these and they sound really karaoke-ish or crappy. This is a classy, fabulous recording.
Thank you. Yeah.
I've been hearing I'm So Excited everywhere.
Yeah, me too.
It's in all kinds of sitcoms. I watch a lot of TV. Yeah. And it is in everything. I've heard it all over the place, like in current shows right now. So, maybe people are looking us up again.
Well, again, I think that's what I said about going to the show You Smile, because the collection of songs, first off, there's millions of hits, millions of songs that should have been hits. You will never run out of material.
Well, and they're timeless. We should re-record some of that stuff.
You probably should, and you'll never. It sounds like you'll never run out of pointers. Apparently,
yeah. That's true. I got some new ones.
I know
you. We got a couple new ones that just came fresh off the market.
And did we mention Ruth is pregnant with twins again?
Oh my God!
She's done. The factory is closed. Issa, do you want to continue? Do you want to, Issa? Do you want to continue the group? Say your aunt. One aunt we've lost. One has retired from touring. Say your mother decides, I'm done with this. Do you want to continue the legacy of the group, or do you want to do your own thing, or both?
I'd like to do both.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the Pointer Sisters should continue because, especially now in a time where we have a Black female vice president.
Hello.
Yay, from Oakland.
Yeah,
I think
right.
that, I think that Black female groups and just Black females in general, like we need to take our stand, and the Pointer Sisters have definitely been instrumental in that because, again, like my mom was saying, they're so eclectic. They weren't put into one category. I'd love to see it continue. I really would. And I'd also love to see myself do my own stuff and then, bring it all full circle. It's important for everybody to know that there's all different types of Black people.
Yep.
We're not all just one type. We don't all just fit into one stereotype. And I think that's another reason I'm writing a book because, people need to know that we were all raised in different situations, and it's not about race. It's about how you were raised, the people that love you. It shouldn't be about color. But I think that it is important for little Black girls to be looking around and seeing other things that they can recognize in themselves and maybe think, oh, I could do that.
Yeah, I think that, your mom, I've seen on many interviews where she talks about the fact that people come up to her and thank her for writing her story because it almost validates their story.
Yeah, I really hope I get the same.
That's why
response.
I wrote it.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping I get the same response too, because, people learn from other people, whether it's a good or bad lesson, they definitely can see themselves in other people, and it may help them make a better choice.
Yeah, and I think
really
the fact
had to make a conscious decision to make some changes.
Really?
That's something that's very hard for a lot of people to do is change.
Yeah.
I consciously stopped doing certain things that I was doing before, started doing new things, and
is there anything you missed that you were doing before?
What?
Is there anything you missed that you were doing before?
Sometimes I miss drinking.
Yeah, I would bet.
Every now and then I'm like, damn, I wish I could have a margarita. But I know where it'll take me, so I'm like, nah, I'll stick with seltzer water and a little lime. Because they don't want to see me be really crazy.
Issa, we talked about it before that, your younger siblings were really raised by a hands-on mom, whereas you had a completely different upbringing.
I did.
Did you have any resentment that she wasn't there, or did you resent the fact she was there for your younger siblings?
Both.
Okay, good.
If
I love that you're so
perfectly
honest. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
Both. Absolutely both. For several reasons. You want your parent there. You want your mother, and like my dad was already not there, so.
Right.
And then, yes, I've definitely seen her because she's a completely different mother to them than she is to me. But they also are 15 years younger than me. She's
and
a
it's a different world.
Person having them than she was having me at 31. And also I have to say, since I've become a mother myself, I really understand a lot more. We really do the best we can. We never think we have it right.
Right.
And all we have to do is just be grateful that they're breathing. They ain't in jail or at the hospital.
Exactly.
Because really, it's
even as I got older and talking to even my sisters, even though we had parents that were there most of our childhood or all of our childhood, me and my brothers and my sisters did, we still had a different mother than the other one had.
Right.
Yeah.
My sister, tells me even to this day sometimes the things that my mother would do for me that she didn't do for her. And,
of course.
We all had different experiences with our mother that was there all the time.
Yeah.
That's inevitable, I think, if you have multiple children at all, because you're dealing with different personalities.
And
It's
especially
right.
over a long period of time.
yes, over a
Yeah.
long period of time. And in my situation, I'm kind of like an only child because the two older ones are so much older and the two younger ones are so much younger.
Right.
You know, so I can't blame or discredit because she was different people at these different times. I was a different person last year than I am now.
Right.
You know, so at some point you just have to be like, you know what, she does the best she can. And listen, my mom is fearless. I wouldn't
Right.
want another mother. I have the best mother that I could possibly
But
have.
how great that you're able to get to that point. And did you have to sit down and sort of work on that relationship, or did you come to that
Absolutely.
realization on your own? Oh, good.
It's a
So you can
constant-
just talk to her.
It's a constant working relationship because listen, we work together too. So sometimes it's like a woman against a woman,
Yeah.
and other times it's a mother and a daughter. You know, like listen, we're people. We have personalities, and we're gonna have arguments. And she doesn't always agree with me. I don't always agree with her, but I always respect her, and I always love
Hallelujah.
her.
What was the one lesson you took from your mother that you now do with your own child?
Let him be himself.
Really?
Yeah, let him be himself. Even if it means he may not do it right.
Yeah.
Like I said, my son is autistic, so right now, like he wants to cook. So the other day he went down. He came walking up the stairs with a plate of scrambled eggs, and I thought, oh no, he's been cooking. But I didn't say anything because I went down and checked. There was no fire. He wasn't hurt.
That's a good place to start, Issa.
All of
No
that
fire.
was like okay, so all of that. And before I'd go down and I'd be mad, like you're not supposed to do this. But this time I said, okay, I'm gonna just give him a little room, and I get that from her because she's really given me. She's given me a lot of room.
Really,
and it hasn't always been good. But I appreciate the fact that she's like, okay, you know what? You need to figure this out on your own because no matter how much you tell a person, they're going to do it their own way anyway.
Ruth, what is the best thing about Issa as a mother?
I think the love that she shows my grandson. She's an amazing mother, and I've told her that over and over again. She's she's just amazing to me. The way she loves him, the way she accepts him, and he is his own person. Trust me. And I love the reports that she gives me about how he's evolving and talking more and shoving her out of his room. And I told her, I said, girl, you don't want to go in that room right now. So just let him be in that room by himself.
Yeah, we're like at the puberty stage, and
stay out. Stay
yeah, it's bad enough if he wasn't autistic, but with him being autistic, it's even a little. Oh man.
Yeah,
but we're doing okay.
I'm so proud of her for the mother that she is becoming and the mother that she is, and also for the way she has stepped up and held me in my profession. I can't think of anybody else I would have wanted to do that other than her.
Yeah, it's interesting. When June left the group initially, the idea was, Issa, you were going to join, and Jada was going to be there halftime as well.
Yeah,
and
we're gonna alternate.
And obviously that didn't work out because Jada passed. But that would have been an easy way to sort of ease into it, and instead it was like, okay, it's you. You're in.
Yeah, they just threw me. They just like threw me to the wall.
Yeah, she was thrown into that, honey. I wasn't sure how it was going to work. We were up there flying by the seat of our pants and just going for it.
Yeah, nobody was really sure.
It's funny how it's come full circle, because when Bonnie left the group, you had to sit and actually think, do we want to continue and reinvent ourselves, or do we say this was fun, next? Right. And you went through the same thing when June had to leave, was what do we do? How do we keep this going? Do we want to keep this going?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been difficult. And I have to say, it takes courage, and again, faith, and I have to say too, that our fans and our audiences have held us up. You know,
They really have. And
they
thank
really
you guys.
have. I mean,
for-
there were times when I was on stage when the group was going through all these different changes and wondering how the audience was going to react to it, and they would always bless us with their applause.
I mean, and really, as someone coming into this iconic, legendary group, thank you to the fans for accepting Sadako and I as well as you have.
Yes.
Like, really,
Yeah.
thank you, because you didn't have to, you know,
No.
and we really appreciate all the support that you've given us. I've made friends, like good friends, out of fans that have just,
Yeah.
you know, sent me a message saying, you know, wow, you were so amazing, and I'm like have good friends out of this. So I appreciate you guys so much.
And it's
All
been
over
how
the
many
world.
years, Issa, since you joined?
20 years this year.
All right, so you know it's not like we're still trying her out. She's proven herself. So everyone
Yes,
just
and
calm
wait,
down.
Can I just point out I'm the
Yeah.
only one that's had to sing everybody's lead. I've
Well-
had to do Mom's lead, Anita's
Yep.
lead, and June's lead.
Yeah.
Although your mom has really done at least two people's, she's done a lot of different leads too. She's
Well, where you
bounced
think
around.
I get it from?
Well, all right. I do love that, you know, you've really sort of shuffled things around like, okay, let's have her try this. Oh, no, I'll try this. Maybe Sadako will try it. Like, you really do play off it well. And again, it could all have been a disaster, and it hasn't.
Could have,
And
but you know,
Exactly.
by
I
the
mean,
grace of
there
God.
were times when I was getting ready to go on stage, you know, and I mean, like, got knee replacement and bunion replacement, all kinds of surgeries and stuff. And I'm like, Issa, I don't know about tonight. You got me. I got you, Mom. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Yeah, I've sort of found a pretty comfortable spot, I think, in the group now.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with my position.
you don't
I
feel like you have to prove yourself.
No, not anymore. Not
Good.
you know, not really. I just really go out there and try to show the audience, you know, my own uniqueness now. Like, but
Right.
I have more confidence on stage than I have anywhere else in my life.
Yeah.
You know, well, there's a gift that your mom and your aunt have given you, is that. So,
Absolutely.
you know, Issa, I want to thank you for joining us. I have to go back to wrap up, but thank you so much. You are
Thanks
a
for
joy.
having me. I love you so much, Mommy. I will talk
I
to you
love you
soon.
too, sweetheart. Kiss
Bye,
Mama
sweetie.
for me.
I will. Bye, everyone.
Bye, honey. Oh, she's such a delight. And you know, I have met her and I've spent time with her backstage. She's exactly what you see there. You know,
Yeah.
she's again, what you see is what you get, which is what all the Pointer sisters have always been.
That's true.
You know, okay, we got to start wrapping, but we got more clips I got to show. All right, one of the most memorable moments that I think you've had in your career. You sang at Washington, D.C. on July 4th in the middle of a rainstorm.
Child, I mean, it was raining too, honey.
And it started out like cute. And then it got not so cute.
You're
so
right.
let's
You're right.
let's take a look at this. Take a look. And of course it happens to be while Ruth is singing lead. But notice June, you know, again, what people love about June, she's so funny. So just watch this clip. And it's pouring.
I don't wanna take it anymore. Me the girl. I'll just stay and lock behind the door.
That's a good idea.
Just no time to stop and get away. Thank you. Cause I work so hard to make it every day.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Pouring rain.
Oh my God.
And before the umbrellas, you're like, we're still here. We're not going
We're
anywhere.
not going nowhere. Nope. Yep.
What were you thinking? Were you thinking, okay, I guess we're singing in the rain?
I guess we're singing in the rain. It wasn't the first time. I mean, we sang in the rain many times. Disneyland and different engagements that it was raining.
And it's a telecast, so the show must go on.
Gotta go with it.
One of the greatest, again, greatest, everything is greatest, but there was the year of the American Music Awards where you got to do a medley. That is just so spectacular. Anita's costume is in the museum at the Hollywood Museum, but just a little clip from the medley because that was also a huge night for you guys.
Right.
So, okay, let's just take a look at this.
No way to control it. It's totally automatic. Whenever you're around, I'm walking blindfolded, completely automatic. All of my systems are down, 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 down. Automatic. There's no money falling from the sky. 'Cause the man to my heart drives me down the way. Someone stole my brand new Chevrolet. Woo! And the rent is due, I got no place to stay. Come on! And it's hard to say just how some things never change. And it's hard to find in this trip to draw the line. Well, I'm just burning, doing the neutron dance. I'm just burning, doing the neutron dance. I'm on fire, yeah. Woo! Said I'm on fire, yeah.
I mean, it's a medley of like 8 songs. It's like your whole career.
Oh my God! I think Bill Ballou made those costumes.
Oh, those costumes were fabulous. Oh,
Oh
when
my
you
God.
and when you and I were at the Hollywood Museum, there was one costume that you pointed to and said to Anita, "I think I'd like that back and want to wear it tonight." And afterwards, you told me it was a dress that Slash's mother had made for you,
Right, Ola Hudson. Yeah.
and that she did a
Our
lot of
very
costumes
first
for you,
designer.
and that you'd be over there and Slash would be running around like a little kid.
Yep, I think he was like 6 or 7 years old, maybe even younger.
That was just, and those were great. The other thing I don't think people at home understand, live costumes, they have to look like beautiful dresses, but they also have to hold up. They've got to be sturdy.
Yes, and a lot of times they were very uncomfortable. Okay.
Well, we suffer for glamour, Ruth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Squeezing the life out of you.
Oh, well, but you always look great, all of you.
Thank
You always
you.
look great. This may be one of the biggest events of your career. You got to close the Olympics. And let's show a little clip of that. It's
Oh my
huge.
God.
It's huge. It's overwhelming. Can you hear each other? Even
It's
with
hard.
monitors?
Big stadiums like that, it's very difficult to hear. You have to kind of go inside your own head and just trust, that you're hearing the right key, because it's difficult a lot of times, especially in big stadiums like that.
And also, that was there were many musicians that came out. And at one point, you just started singing "Backup for Love and Understanding," and I'm like, the Pointer Sisters can sing anything,
Oh,
including the national anthem. Now, Paul will be upset. This isn't the official video, but Ruth Pointer proves she is a Bostonian by singing the national anthem at Fenway Park.
Red Sox.
Red Sox. So here's just a little clip of that.
And the rockets went glad, the bombs were singing air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled
Singing a cappella, Ruth Pointer, the national anthem. Was that a moment?
It was a moment. And I have to, all praise to John and Linda Henry, who own the Red Sox. They've been very generous to me. I've been in their home several times. And it was a moment, I got to meet Big Pappy and
Yes, you
take
did.
a picture with him, and it was I felt like it was very special, and the fans really were warm toward me, and they enjoyed the way I sang it. They were coming up to me afterwards saying, "I'm so glad that you sang it the way you did, not a lot of frills, and you didn't try to change it, and I love it."
How do you feel when you're on stage by yourself, not with your sisters? Because Anita's recorded a couple of albums, Ruth recorded a solo album, and you said very wisely that your book was like your solo album. But is there a soloist in there that wants to come out, or is that not important to you?
I think there is a soloist in there that wanted to come out, and that's why I took the opportunity to write my book.
Yeah.
Because I had not done a solo album, and all my other sisters had, and I thought, okay, this was an opportunity that came to me. I wasn't really looking for it, I had started a solo project a few years earlier and collected a few songs, but then when the Pointer Sisters album came up, I surrendered my songs for the Pointer Sisters album. Don't Walk Away was my prize song, and I gave it to the group. So it was just something that came up, and I remembered, I thought, okay, I may not ever get a chance to do a solo singing album, but this opportunity to do my own book is something I think I should take advantage of, and so that's why I did.
Does it feel as personal writing as singing does to you?
I think it feels more personal.
Really?
Yeah. I think the longer I'm in this business, and starting, you get to a certain age and you start to look back over your life and look back over the things that you've done. And I've always I felt like we were coming along during a time when artists just were not rendered the freedom that they have today.
Yeah.
They were so controlled by the record companies, and the producers, and the different boxes that they put people in, black music, pop music, R&B music. And it was like now it just goes across the board sometimes,
Yeah, you mentioned in the book several times that when you first came out as a trio, that your audience really did not want to accept you as rock singers. And you had a great rock band, you had great rock songs, but that's not what your audience would buy.
Right. Priority was probably predominantly a rock album.
Oh, it's such a great album.
But people were like, nah, black people don't do that.
And I think was it June? I don't know. Somebody said that when Black and White came out, that it represented the swirl. That we're not just black, we're not white. It's a little bit of everything.
That sounds like June.
But we've got songs. Let's see. One of the songs that you have sung solo songs, people should know. One of my favorite songs was Oliver and Company. Streets of Gold. Let's see, do we have that here? Good song. A very Ruth song. A Ruth song.
Yeah.
And of course, what else do we have before we finish up? We got to finish up with you. My God. What is this? One of a really underknown song is Happiness. And what I love about your recording is that, was it June that originally sang
Yes,
Happiness?
June.
Okay, and now you sing it, and
Yes.
on the new recording you sang it.
Hmm.
Somebody did something very interesting, which is they blended the two versions together.
Oh.
And the inflections are so similar and yet so distinct. So I just want to play a little bit of this. I don't know if you've ever heard it. So
I don't know if I have either.
well, we'll find out. There's no
God, I
denying
love that
those
song.
genes. But again, you both sing it your own way, and yet within the framework of the Pointer sisters.
Yeah.
How influenced by each other are you? When
A
you have
lot.
stepped in to sing June's lead, do you hear her version in your ears?
I do. Of course I do. Of course
I mean,
I
it was
do.
so many years.
Yeah. It's I think it's because we grew up so tight,
Yeah, you said something that I thought was so beautiful. You said that He's So Shy was originally pinpointed for Anita.
True.
Then it went to June, and then when June left the group, Anita got it back.
Right.
And
I
now
love
who
the way
sings it?
Anita sings that song.
You know, you talk over and over in the book about being your sister's biggest fans. That sometimes you just step out of being the group, a member, and just are a fan of watching them or listening to them sing.
Oh my God, yes. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, especially Anita, because both of them. Anita has a style about her singing. I remember when I was with Issa's father, that Temptation, Dennis Edwards, and I remember him even saying to me, your sister Anita, she's a stylist. And he said she got a style that is really, really very unique. And sometimes Anita would be singing on stage, and she's so cool all the time. Most of the time, she's just so cool the way she moves and stuff. And child, she will be singing your ass on fire, and she'll just be so cool, and it just drives me crazy. The way she'll sing "He's So Shy" or "Slow Hand."
Slow Hand, yeah,
just,
or Fire. I mean,
not
yeah.
to mention, I'm so excited. Like, Lord, please.
No, and I also think that what's interesting is that, you say this in the book, is that because she had such a commercial sounding voice, you were really overlooked. Unless it was a perfect song for you, a lot of the leads and a lot of the singles were going to Anita even more than June at the beginning.
True, that's true. Yeah. I noticed that later in my observing of the music industry, that's changed a lot. I mean, even so much as like the first time I heard TLC, I was like, whoa, it's not a real high, perky voice. You know, you can actually have a hit with a woman singing that deep tone. I like that.
Oh, tell people the story about Michael Jackson. Speaking of your deep tone.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, I was actually one of the husbands that I was dating was Michael's bass player, Don Boyette. And I was traveling a little bit, and when Michael was doing his Bad tour and went to Paris to see him, and he had me come into his trailer before the show, and he said, "You're the one that got that deep voice, sings automatic, huh?" I said, "Yeah, that's me." And he's like, "I love that voice, girl. I love that song." And it was just meant so much to me because I was such a Michael Jackson fan,
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, is there anything better than the praise from your peers?
Absolutely.
And speaking of which, you got to sing something before anybody else. Take a listen to this. Again, so different than Shaka's version, but so Pointer's.
Yeah.
I would bet you never performed that live anywhere.
No.
I remember Gladys Knight talking about when they did their version of Heard It Through the Grapevine. And she said that it took them months of doing it on the road to find their way of doing that song their own way.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder, did you have that experience? Because a lot of the songs would come to you in the studio. We're really hearing you singing these songs for the first time.
That's true with a lot of the songs that we recorded. I think that's one of the things that really went over well with went over well with our live performances, as opposed to maybe what people were hearing on our recordings. Because when you're live, all bets are off.
Yeah, and you grow
do
into
whatever
a
the hell you
song.
want to do up there on that stage, and you're not restricted. You know, we're in the studio, and you got a producer and all that in there, sort of guiding you and stopping you and saying, "No, sing this way," or "No, you need to do this over." When you're on stage, you're just singing it outright from your gut and from your heart, and it comes out really who you are. And so a lot of our songs changed quite a bit on stage.
Was there any song that you think to yourself, we finally got to do it our way?
Exactly. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. One of, the later albums, again, you were bouncing around record labels. Labels didn't really invest in you in terms of promoting you, getting you radio play. But there's some great songs on there. And one of the songs was, I think, Serious Slammin'. It's Pride. And again, you get to riff in a way that I don't think anybody today can do. So let me just...
I haven't heard that one in a long time.
All right. Well, you're going to hear a little clip now. You can't teach that. I mean, do you come up with your own riffs?
Yeah. That was one of my talents, or one of my gifts, I guess, because sometimes we would finish recording a song and Richard would say, "Ruth, go on in there and put some ad libs on the end. Just do whatever you feel."
And people wait for it, like in the ooh yeahs, or at the end of So Excited. You can't hear it without hearing that. And these are things that you can't write, you can't tell somebody. It comes from, as you said, your soul.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, on the end of So Excited, that "oh yeah."
Yeah.
It's something that was erased off of the original recording. And when Richard played it back for us and we heard that it wasn't there, we said, "Wait a minute, what happened to the oh yeah?" And he was like, "Whoa, I took that. I'm like, "Have you lost your mind?"
It's such a part of the song. And it's funny, everybody waits for it.
Yeah.
Oh God, people, we got so many comments. First off, love Ruth. She's a riot. Well, she is a riot, I'll tell you that. I love Ruth singing Friend's Advice. That was an interesting album because, it was trying to sort of reposition you in a current market. And I thought that it worked. I think a lot of those records that were later, and, it's funny, you worked so much with Richard Perry.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you had different people. Who worked with the Pointer Sisters the best?
Who worked with the Pointer Sisters the best?
Yeah, like who got your sound the best in terms of producers?
Probably Richard did for what.
And David did so much for you guys too earlier.
But you know what? I have to be honest and say I don't think anyone ever really got it.
Really?
I really don't believe anyone really ever got it. I always felt like we were kind of stifled into being, molded into to fit in somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I often wonder what it would have been like or sounded like had they just turned our asses loose. Really?
So is that where live performance, it was really the truest
And when we
Pointers?
were live, that was what was, I think that's why a lot of our audiences used to say to us, even, they would come backstage and they would say, "Damn, we love you guys live, but your records doesn't give us that emotion and that energy that you have live." And that's probably why.
Well, I think that people, if they haven't seen the Paris concert is really spectacular.
Yeah,
because it's really, and I really think, for me, Contact is probably the best album.
Wow.
Because it was almost impossible to follow up the previous album with so many hits. I think Contact came out a little too early. I think that it was just so much Pointers coming at you, and Hey You and Back in My Arms and Dear Me. I mean, oh Dear Me, the video where you got to play men.
Yeah, that was fun.
And one last clip before we end. I said that you sang for the last time with Bonnie, but your son Malik had put together some shows at Cantor's in Los Angeles for people in the West Hollywood area. It's a great place, and it's sort of like a drop-in casual place. And so there were 2 times, and I was lucky enough to be there because I live right around the corner.
Oh, wow.
So you got to sort of revisit some of the old material and some new material. So there was one clip that, again, another one of my favorite songs, also a Ruth song. So people can look at just a little vintage clip of the Pointers in action. And again, after 30 years, it's not a song that you guys sing usually. And you just, and I think people should also know, no rehearsal, no guarantee that you were going to sing.
Nope.
Your son's like, all right, get up there, aunties. And it's like, okay, I guess we're singing.
We just fall in.
And he had sort of surprised you guys. I know. Okay. Last clip. Now we're going. Okay. You did reimagine, and this was Malik, reimagined one of your songs. So. Just so fabulous. And what a great way to do the song. Who would have ever thought?
I know.
Just
spontaneous.
All right. Well, we've got so many questions. First off, season's greetings from St. Louis, Missouri. Set Me Free, another one of Ruth's talents. Oh, people just adore you. I want to remind people, please, if you haven't read her book, I'm still so excited. My Life as a Pointer Sister. It is an amazing book. I first met the Pointer Sisters at a benefit in Boston at Avalon. Terrible picture of me, but a great picture of you guys. I look like a kid from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. But we were together at the Hollywood Museum recently, and I just want to say you have given people so much joy, and to sit and talk, as you know, obviously, I could sit and talk to you for 20 hours, but an hour 45 is probably enough. I want to thank you
so much for having me, and my fans and everyone I can think of has given me great joy, too. I never expected my life to be this way, but I'm so grateful.
Well, I think that you have given people so much joy that you deserve to get at least a little of it back.
Thank you.
Ruth, thank you for coming on. Please have a happy holiday. Stay safe. Try to stay away from all this snow out here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll talk again soon. Bye, honey. Oh my God, Ruth Pointer, the Pointer Sisters. I can never get enough of any Pointers. And we had Issa. We were supposed to have Ruth's co-author, and his phone, because of course I run so long, his phone died, so he had to log off. Oh, I didn't even mention, but Ruth Pointer is a fan of my play mama, Jennifer Lewis, and read her book. So, thank you to all the Pointer Sisters. Thank you to all the fans for tuning in. This was a dream come true for me. I love my Pointers. I don't know if you knew that. Next week, Tuesday, we have the Great Taylor Dane, our pre-Christmas show. So be sure to tune in on Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. There may be a show in between Christmas and New Year's. Not sure. Who knows? That's it. Take care of yourselves, people. Try and stay warm, stay safe, stay healthy. I have been Billy Masters, and this is Billy Masters Live. And if we're here, we're live. I now have to go out and shovel because I've got old parents, and, I don't want them to die in the snow. All right, take care. Bye, guys.